Guys, can I have some parliamentary procedure please? For today's video is about politics. Now, I'm not going to bore you with sports corruption, wars, economics, or the like. Today's big debate is this: which is better for everyday carry? A traditional pocket knife or a modern folder? I've got a few ideas here which will help you hopefully come to some conclusion. So let's get into it. First of all, aesthetics. This is purely down to the user. I appreciate personally a traditional folder like this with natural materials just as much as I prefer, just as much as I enjoy the stealthy sort of tactical look of modern folder. They both appeal to me equally in that situation, so for this one, that's a draw. Secondly, heritage. When it comes to heritage, let's be honest, with modern folders, although you might have some outstanding brand names, there's just not the same appeal there. Something with nostalgic vibes like this Arthur Wright, which have been, the craftsmanship has been handed down from generations. This company, I think, has been going for around about 100 plus years. Correct me if I'm wrong, anyone in the comment section. But you really have those history and heritage with something like a traditional folder, just like with the case knives in America and whatnot. Gives those nostalgic vibes, and yeah, like I say, when it comes to heritage and whatnot, obviously the traditional is going to win that segment. Safety. For me, the modern folder wins that. Generally, you can find pocket knives with this decent finger choil. You can see there you've got a better grip. Generally, the handles are made of synthetic materials like FRN or G10, which just gives that sort of extra bit of grip. And this in particular, Spyderco Urban, is a very user-friendly knife. Even though it's a slip joint and we've got no lock, you'd have to do something quite wrong to do yourself any harm with this, in my opinion. Like I say, with safety, it's all user error as well. But if I show you with this traditional knife, generally the handle materials, especially if it's handle materials like ebony or maybe horn or those sorts of things, are generally a little bit more slippy. You've got a good strong back spring on this, to be honest, so that does help with the safety. But like I say, you've got this little kick there, so if you're using the knife in this way, you're going to be quite good when you're using it. The issue comes when you're closing the knife. Being a traditional knife, like I say, they've got quite a good closing strength, I suppose you call it. So if you see this, snaps like a crocodile. So if you were to get your finger in there, it's going to do you a bit more harm than if you were to use that Spyderco. Just takes a little bit more thought when you are using a traditional knife, just to use it with a little bit more caution, in my opinion. Materials, especially when it comes to blade materials, the modern folders generally will have more edge retention. This has got a M398 blade. I've got a Spyderco UK PK with Magna cut. So like I say, generally the modern folder will win that. The traditional knife, again, generally made out of, the blades will be made out of sort of carbon or stainless steel. They are quite easy to maintain, but they just take a little bit more regular maintenance to keep that blade in working order. Handle materials, like I mentioned earlier, generally on the traditional knives, they're going to be sort of smoother materials, especially, like I say, if you're using sort of horn or ebony or that smooth oak and those types of materials. Helping have it helps if you've got like something with a little bit of sort of jigged bone and those sorts of materials, in my opinion, to give it a bit more grip. But when you compare it to the synthetic handles of knives like this, you've got GRN generally, or G10, those sorts of materials, micarta, generally more grippy in my opinion. The weight. Now, obviously, using more natural materials, the traditional knife is going to be a little bit more heavy. For a lot of people, that will be a con. For others, they may like the reassurance. For example, if you've got this rattling around in a jean pocket, feeling that little bit of weight there lets you know that it is there. As opposed to if you've got a lightweight modern folder, sometimes you can forget about it, and that may be a negative. So again, that one's a bit of a 50-50. In terms of use with packs and pouches and whatever, generally if you've got a traditional knife, you're either going to keep it loose in the pocket, use a slip, or maybe something like a belt sheath. Whereas this, I feel, gives way more sort of carry options. Obviously, you've got the pocket clip here. The slimline profile of it makes it way more suitable for various pouches and little mini bags and whatnot. So makes it more pocket friendly, in my opinion. The next one, the traditional definitely wins, and that's public perception. I've mentioned it before. When I see something like this, with this oldie worldy looks and whatnot, it just gives that more sense of someone who's responsible, who's going to be using it. Someone like a farmer, a craftsman, your grandfather and whatnot. You see this, it's a lot less threatening, especially with the deployment being two-handed opening. It's not a fast deployed knife, as opposed to modern folders, many of which can be one-handed opened. It just gives that sort of more stealthy, tactical vibe. Let's be honest, if someone who's not a knife person, maybe a little bit more threatening if they were to see this outside. Finally, maintenance. When it comes to grit, dust and dirt sort of build up, in the modern folders, there's a lot more sort of hiding places, I suppose, for grit and dirt build up to get into all sorts of areas. Also, if you are taking it apart, it can be a little bit more fiddly as opposed to traditional. Less working parts means less things can go wrong, I suppose. And if you were to sort of squeeze a bit of WD-40 in there to flush out any debris and whatnot, if you were to get some in there, and a bit of mineral oil and general maintenance, just sort of gives that durability factor as well. So unless you were to drop the sort of bone handle materials or whatnot, which can sort of come to cracking. Also, if you're going from sort of extremes in temperature, so you're living or working in a hot environment and you're going into a cold environment, you can get cracks and the like. But generally these will be more durable than the modern folders. So the conclusion, for everyday carry, from a practical standpoint, overall, I'm going to go with a modern folder. But will I give up the sort of practical advantages to carry something which looks as lovely as this, has the heritage, is a good talking point, and is a fantastic tool. It really is 50-50 for me, but if I was talking just on a practical basis, I'll go in with a modern folder. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Let me know which one you prefer for everyday carry, and yeah, like, share, subscribe. Thank you to all the new subscribers that have tuned into my channel. Until next time, keep going equipped, look after yourselves, and have fun.